All right, everybody, this is a tutorial on how to adjust some settings on Zoom to really aid in your teaching. So first of all, we're going to want to go to our account in Zoom. And to do this, there are ways to change your settings when you're in Zoom, but the best way to do this is through a web browser. It allows you to customize some more settings. So you go to zoom.us, you click over here on My Account. If you're not signed in, it might ask you to sign in. I'm already signed in on this computer. And you look over here on the left, and there's some different things that you have access to. One is your profile, just has some information about you, time zone, things like that. You can change your profile picture, which I haven't done yet. Meetings, which are any meetings you have scheduled, and right now it's probably not any. Same with webinars and recordings. But we're going to go down here on this video to settings. And we're going to adjust a couple of these settings to set you up to be successful. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on the waiting room. That just makes sure that the waiting room is a default for everything. That keeps outsiders from jumping in our meeting without us knowing about it. So when the class begins, all your students will be in a waiting room and you will admit them. Going down a little bit. We're going to go to the part that says schedule meeting. You're going to want to turn your video on and your participants' video on, your students, right when they join that Zoom meeting. That way it defaults with their video on, and so you don't have to fight the battle of getting students to turn their videos on at the beginning of a meeting. The next one that we want to toggle is the mute participants upon entry. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. That means when students join into your classroom, they're muted right away, and then later they can unmute to speak. This usually just lowers the confusion joining a Zoom meeting. It's sometimes tough with everybody talking right at the beginning, and so it mutes them upon entry. If it is your preference that the students are kind of speaking with each other and having conversation before class starts, feel free to leave this off. Just for my purposes, I would leave it on. All right, going down here a little bit. Right here, it has the chat function. If you turn this off, it's going to turn off all chat in your Zoom meetings. I'm going to show you a way in Zoom that you can limit it or turn it off for that particular session. So for right now, we're going to leave it on. If it is your desire not to have any chat at all, meaning students not talking to each other or students talking to you via chat, you can turn this off. But again, I'll show you a way to just turn off that partially once we're in Zoom. I would, however, click prevent participants from saving chat. That just keeps your students from saving the chat to their computers. Let's see. Right here where it says private chat, allow meeting participants to send private one-on-one messages to each other. We're going to turn that off. That keeps students from messaging each other directly. So they'll only be able to message you, the teacher, if you allow, or the whole class if you allow again. We're going to go down here. Our next one is screen sharing. Who can share? So we're going to turn screen sharing on because you may need to show your screen or show videos and things like that. However, with who can share, we're going to click on host only instead of all participants. Again, maybe you are a Zoom expert and you want to be able for students to maybe present and take control of the whole screen. In that case, you might want to have that all participants on. But for right now, I'm going to start with host only. So I'm the only one who can share my screen or things like that with students. That way students can't kind of take control of the meeting in that way and show their screens. All right. Go down here. Right here, we're going to make sure this one's allow participants to rename themselves. We're going to turn that off. Once our students are in the meeting, we want them to use their real names and we don't want them to be changing names while they are in the meeting. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. All right. Down here is kind of a cool tool. We're going to turn on breakout rooms. That allows us, when we're in the meeting, to break off students into smaller Zoom groups, either automatically, like you just say how many students in a group and Zoom will break them up, or manually, where you kind of drag students into different Zoom breakout groups. It doesn't mean you have to have them in every Zoom meeting, but by turning this on, it's going to give us the option while we are in the Zoom meeting. All right, going down to this one, virtual background, you'll see that it's already turned on. That's fine. It's going to allow our students to have things as their background if they don't want to show us the room that they're in. However, we are going to uncheck allow use of videos for virtual backgrounds. This just makes sure that the call stays fast enough that we can all see it and that we don't have kind of some moving, distracting backgrounds for students. Again, if there's a specific situation that you can think of where you want that enabled, you can do that. Otherwise, we are going to leave that or we're going to make that unchecked. All right, the last thing that we want to do is just look at email notifications. I always like to turn off this notification, which is an email when attendees join the meeting and you're not on. If you've used Zoom before, you're familiar with this email. It says that people are waiting to get on for you, the instructor. If that's a helpful email to you, you can turn it on. But I turn it off, especially if you're going to have your Zoom link just constantly on your Google Classroom page. Some students are going to click it to check it out. It's going to say you're not there, but it's also going to send you an email. I don't like getting those emails, so I am going to turn that off. All right, so that's what I have for some good default settings for you in Zoom. Make sure to watch future tutorials about running Zoom meetings and some of the controls in there.